It's another Sunday, and welcome to the Sick Nature Show. What a spectacular week it has been. All eyes were literally on the judiciary this past week as the Court of Appeal delivered judgment in the petitions from the APM, Labour Party and PDP against the election and declaration by INEC of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Justice Haruna Samani, leader of the five-man panel, said the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC was right to return Tinubu as the duly elected by a majority of lawful votes cast in the February 25, 2023 poll. The tribunal held that the petitioners did not successfully prove the allegations against the election of President Ahmed Tinubu. In his words, the petition accordingly lacks merit. He said, "I affirm the return of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the duly elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The parties are to bear their cost." Well, that judgment attracted mixed reactions. While supporters of the president hailed the judgment, those on the side of the opposition criticized it.
Today is a great day for Nigeria. The Nigerian judiciary had proved itself to be the guardians for justice and fairness against the sirens of deception. It's a battle between the will of the people and the forces of misinformation and disinformation. But democracy has finally triumphed. Like the bird phoenix, it rises from the ashes, resolute and unyielding. And in this age of information, discernment is our greatest armor, and unity is our strongest port. Democracy, as you all know, is not a destination but a journey. It tests us, it tests our resolve, our intent, our commitment to be the custodians of the will of the people. My principal, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is eternally indebted to the Nigerian people and to the leadership of the party. So words cannot adequately convey our depth of gratitude to the Nigerian people. I want to thank you. The journey is just beginning. I want to call on Nigerians, let's unite. What binds us together surpasses whatever that divides us. Let's unite as a people and face our common challenges.
This is a huge success, not only for APC as a political party in Nigeria, but it is a huge success for Nigerians and also a huge success for democracy. This has shown that democracy has come to stay and our judiciary is highly respected, and not only the judiciary, but also even the press, even the media, the various media. You see how we have come along, and you see how we have tolerated each other. So I can say that this is the beginning of the maturity of democracy in this country. We have to thank the politicians, even the leaders of the political parties. We have to thank them for showing maturity, especially the presidential candidate for PDP and that of Labour Party. We have to appreciate them, we have to thank them, because they also do contribute to stability of democracy in this country. We have to inform you that we respect the judiciary, because if you see how 5 of them are unanimous on the verdict that they have shown this evening. And not only that, all the other consolidated, allegations, complaints by the opposition, all the 3 consolidated petitions have been exhausted, especially the issue of disqualification of our presidential candidate and his running mate, or the vice president at the moment. You can see how that one was dispensed. Also the issue of malpractices in the election. you could see how the judges were able to treat it and dispensed everything to, and we're happy that this program was done live so that Nigerians will definitely know what has happened instead of relying on social media where some political parties are inciting people. If APC is being manipulating the result, how can we lose presidential election in Katsina State, which was the state of the existing president at that time? And how can we lose presidential election in Lagos, where we have our own presidential candidate? So you can see that APC has done a lot, and we have to thank our followers, and we are now ready to continue giving dividends of democracy to the people of Nigeria.
I am here today to give my official reaction to the judgment delivered yesterday by the Presidential Election Petition Court on the 2023 presidential elections. As you already know, I approached the court following the declaration of INEC, or by INEC, that the APC and its candidates are the winners of the February 25th elections. My decision to go to court is anchored in my belief that the court is the sanctuary of justice. And I must say that I have found the judiciary as a worthy pillar to rest on the pursuit of justice. The last presidential election in our country and the way it was managed by the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, leaves behind an enviable precedent, which I believe the courts have a duty to redress. Our gains in ensuring transparent elections through the deployment of technology was heavily compromised by INEC in the way it managed the last presidential elections. And I'm afraid that the judgment of the court as rendered by the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal yesterday failed to restore confidence in our dreams of free and fair elections devoid of human manipulations. Like I did say at the beginning of this legal battle, when I instructed my lawyers to file my petition challenging the outcome of the presidential election, my ultimate goal in this pursuit is to ensure that democracy is further strengthened through the principles and processes of fair hearing and justice. Gentlemen of the press, I take great pains to tell you that the decision of the court of first instance on this matter utterly fails far short of expectation. I am therefore here to tell you that though the judgment of the court yesterday is respected, it is a judgment that I refuse to accept. I refuse to accept the judgment because I believe that it is bereft of substantial justice. However, the disappointment in the verdict of the court can never destroy my confidence in the judiciary. Consequently, I have asked my lawyers to activate my constitutionally guaranteed rights of appeal to the higher court, which in the instance is the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
As law-abiding political party, we received the judgment with shock along with other Nigeria and friends of Nigeria. Well, therefore, we must not withstand the burden of cost and general inconvenience these issues must be settled, for what is at stake is beyond personal gains. It is to force pronouncement on some of these unacceptable ethical issues for the love of the country and its future generation. I also call on members not to lose focus and be distracted. The NWC is doing everything possible to keep this party together so that we will give this government a credible opposition. And we will continue to pursue our mandate.
Ordinary Nigerians were not left out in the debate, as a number of them signature shows spoke to took positions of their own.
I don't know whether you ever listen to the judgment from beginning to the end. Their lordships, in fact, they are superb. But they trash each items one by one, and you see their analysis. In fact, and so far so good. This is the longest judgment I've ever seen in my life. I'm over 60, like I've said. So we have been witnessing the tribunal, whatever. But this one, my dear brother, they are superb. So for those who are not satisfied, it's their right. Let them go to Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the land. So nobody can deprive them of that. Let them go and prove themselves there. If they are able to prove otherwise, we shall see.
There are still other options left to be explored. So I believe they should go to the Supreme Court. All right. So our sincere wish and hope is, at the end of the day, okay, they should give us hope that you can search and get justice in our society. So if they crush the hope, of common people, that we don't have any hope in the so-called democratic exercise. And when we have grievances, we go to our courts. You understand? Justice is not obtainable. Then we should reconsider our nationhood. That is it.
To me, this is what something the world is seeing. All eyes is on Nigerians' election. They have not been fair to us. They have not been fair to the party, and they have not been fair to my president, Atiku Abubakar. I can still call him my president because this is somebody whom I know, who won the election, not the other person. So I don't think they have been fair to us. This judgment is not free and fair. The election is not free and fair election. The world is seeing. Nigerians know that Atiku Abubakar won this election.
Because what happened yesterday at the tribunal was a pure academic. So you may not expect anything less at the Supreme Court. So I appreciate the fact that the Labour Party, the PDP, did not resort to violence. And they are proceeding to the Supreme Court. That is a kudos. It's a kudos to them, and that means that we are still in democracy. Because when you still believe in a particular system that, oh, this is the way to go. So they are still trying to follow it and do things and follow the right path of honor, and which they are doing now. So I think let them go to the Supreme Court, and let's hear what is going to happen there.
I believe the debate will continue, and I don't think it will even end after the Supreme Court gives judgment. Coming up is our interview with the National Legal Advisor of the Labour Party, Barrister Kehinde Edun, and the founder and pioneer National Chairman of APGA, Chief Chekwas Okorie. While Edun speaks on Labour Party's position going forward, Chekwas Okorie is joining us via Zoom to analyze the judgment. Before we bring you those interviews, nurses and midwives practicing in the southeastern part of the country came together in Enugu recently to celebrate Southeast Zone 2023 International Nurses Week with what they called a scientific workshop in Enugu. The workshop was organized to sensitize nurses and midwives on the need to be in tune with technology advances in patient care and management. Dr. Jomilo, a lecturer in the Department of Nursing, University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, who delivered the lead lecture at the workshop entitled The Critical Role of Nursing Education in Ensuring High-Quality Patient Care and Fostering Professional Development, told participants that for patients to get quality care, medical professionals, especially nurses, must embrace new trends in technology.
Our patients will get the benefits of what we have learned in technology. Our care will be enhanced. Our patients will be happy. At the end of the day, we are giving evidence-based care that is technology-driven and that enhances patient satisfaction. And patients will be happy, and we will be happy that we have done the right thing too.
Dr. Ijoma Ilode of the Department of Nursing, University of Nigeria Enugu campus, speaking on the essence of technology in quality patient care. Moving on, let's bring you our interview with the National Legal Advisor of the Labour Party. The judgment of Wednesday. The tribunal says that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was rightfully elected, constitutionally elected, and upheld his election. What is the official reaction of the Labour Party?
Thank you very much. Firstly, we will have to express our deep respect for the Court of Appeal and the learned justices for the hard work they put in over the period of the hearing and determination of the petitions. It has been a very hard work, and they have gone through a gamut of documents and other evidence before them to arrive at their opinion. We respect their opinion and we thank them for what they have done, but we are dissatisfied about the opinion that they have expressed, and we are also disappointed. And not only us, Nigerians are disappointed. We thought we had gone beyond what they actually talked about. The exposition of the law that they gave is sound, no doubt, but it reflects, in our opinion, the state we were before the electoral 2022 was enacted. We thought we made some gains by that enactment. We thought things would be different from the way they were. But this judgment has made it stare us in the face that we are still where we were. All the gains we thought we made, all the progress we thought had been made, all of them have now been thrown into the dustbin. The court exposed the law the way the law was before the electoral 2022 was enacted. Then why did we take the trouble? Why did we make the effort, spend money, time and resources of the National Assembly to enact that electoral 2022? Why did INEC make all the efforts they made? Because, to be sincere, INEC actually made a lot of contribution. They canvassed, they struggled, they made inputs, they did all that to make our elections better. That is a reflection of the fact that INEC actually meant well. They actually meant well because there are some things they put into that electoral 2022 that will have made our elections better. But maybe they were overwhelmed. Maybe there was too much pressure on them and they couldn't do what they meant to do. They actually meant to do well, but they couldn't deliver. When it mattered most, INEC disappointed Nigerians. INEC disappointed the young people of Nigeria and all Nigerians as a whole. And INEC dashed our hopes as to the gains we thought we have made. The struggle for a better society is for all of us. And we thought INEC had actually made some contributions to that. There are some things that they put into that electoral act, and it was all due to the effort of INEC that those things were there. An example of it is section 47(2) of that electoral act, which said that to vote, the presiding officer shall use the smart card reader or any other device that is sanctioned by the commission, that is INEC, in order to verify, to authenticate the identity of the voter. What that means is that they are trying as much as possible to be able to prevent identity theft. So somebody will not just come there and just bring a card and just vote like we were doing, or somebody will not have somebody sit down in a corner of a room or anywhere or in the government house and just stop print ballot papers. So that was why they introduced the smart card reader, and the beavers that they brought was even an improvement. And that was why that session said the presiding officer shall use the smart card reader or any other device, and the beavers was an advancement on the smart card reader, and they said they were going to use. And if you look at the way that section was actually put, it used shall, which is mandatory, that is shall, but we didn't see that happen. We didn't see that happen. Another section, let me talk about another section. Another section in the Electoral Act that we fail to see, to put in practice, was section 64.45, which talked about electronic transmission of results from the polling unit. We did all this, and INEC also contributed. Our eminent lawyers contributed to the discourse. Very eminent Nigerians, some of our legislators made sure that those things entered that electoral 2022 to ensure that results are transmitted for the polling units, so that this issue of results being changed midway from the polling unit to the collation center, whether ward or local government or state or everything. So we wanted to eliminate all that so that results will be there. That was why this was put there.
Specifics of that judgment.
Okay.
Which particular areas is your party disagreeing with? I mean, it is not to say we disagree with the judgment. Which particular areas or aspects of that judgment is the Labour Party disagreeing with?
I think I have to give some background to that. First of all, any petitioner knows from the beginning that you have a mountain to climb. The reason is that if you look at the state of our laws, it talks about presumption of regularity of official acts, that whatever an official person has done in his official capacity is regular. So that is an order against you as a petitioner. Number two, it talks about substantial compliance. That if the electoral body or any official person has substantially complied with the law, then what he has done is regular. Now, what we are against is how did the court arrive at the determination of substantial compliance? It is subjective. If you score 1/10, have you substantially complied? If you score 2/10, what we are saying is that the foundation.
But the percentage of compliance is subjective, like you said.
It's very subjective.
So how that when you say they have not substantially complied, I mean, what basis?
Everyone knows that if you score 1/10, you have not substantially complied.
In the eyes of the judges, maybe they scored 9/10.
I wouldn't agree with that.
I mean, you said it's subjective.
It's subjective.
Or relative.
It's relative. And that's what I'm saying, that is why that is the disappointment of Nigerians about this judgment. If INEC had simply complied with what they said, they had simply complied with the law, which says shall. Yes. If beavers had been used in all the polling units, if results were transmitted from all the polling units,
said
that is the foundation.
Electoral Act did not make it mandatory for results to be transmitted electronically.
This thing is clear. Shall is mandatory. If the law says shall do something, it is mandatory. And INEC also said they are going to do it. That, in fact, INEC, by their own words, the then INEC commissioner, I think in terms of publicity or so, voter education, said it, that INEC has no discretion in the matter because the word is shall. When the law says shall, I think this is so basic. If that had been done, we will not be in this mess.
Okay, let me ask you. They say, I mean, you're a lawyer, and I hear lawyers all the time. He who alleges has to prove.
Yes.
And the judges said that there was a lot of generalization, that the Labour Party, for instance, didn't say that in booth ABC that this was what happened, but there was a general claim of, oh, they didn't do what they were supposed to do, or we were robbed of votes, but there were no clear-cut evidence to prove that such misdemeanor or such illegality or whatever you call it took place in those specific polls. Was it that your lawyers didn't do their homework?
I believe that our lawyers did what they had to do, but there are some limitations that they had. These limitations were deliberately imposed on us by INEC. INEC fought us as if their life depended on it. And maybe their life depended on it.
Fought you in what way?
Fought Labour Party and all the other petitioners too, but I'm talking about Labour Party. They fought us. Well, people will say a respondent is not supposed to support the case of a petitioner. Yes, but a respondent, by the way their name is called as Independent National Electoral Commission, should have been independent, should not have been so forceful, so fierce, so vehement in opposing us.
No, but they had to protect the processes. They had to protect what they had done. They had to justify. Were you expecting INEC to come to court and say, we agree with everything that Labour has said, if they have evidence to show that what we were saying was not right?
We wanted them to bring that evidence. Now, do you know something? There was an attempt to put into our electoral jurisprudence the need and the duty for INEC as an electoral body to justify the conduct of the election. In fact, I think it was in 2014 that the process started. They wanted that in an election petition, it should not be the duty of the petitioner to prove that INEC did not do what they had to do. That INEC should have a duty to come to the tribunal in order to show that they complied with the law in the conduct of those elections. If, unfortunately, that thing did not pass through, maybe because of the kind of society we are and the kind of the state we are, and we hope that we are going to get better. If that had been the case, then we will not be fishing for evidence. If INEC had that duty of coming to the tribunal to show that they did everything they needed to do, then all these documents we are looking for, we will not be looking for them. But in this case, let me tell you, there is no evidence that you can bring that can override the evidence that INEC has. The truth is that they are the one who conducted the election. Whatever document, the proper custody of all the electoral documents are INEC. And if INEC refused to give it to you, what can we do? We made efforts, we applied, we gave them notice to produce, we subpoenaed some of their witnesses, we did all the things we needed to do. The court, and when the subpoena is issued, it says you are hereby commanded in the name of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to come and bring all these documents. But if the person refuses to bring all those documents, you have to make do.
Are you going to blame the judges for basing their judgment on evidence before them? I mean, whether INEC fought you vehemently, whether INEC didn't play the nationalistic role as an umpire, that is INEC. It doesn't have to do with the judges. Judges take decision based on evidence before them. So, is that part of your disagreement about what INEC did that the judges were not part of?
I respect the opinion you have expressed. That's talking like a lawyer. A court is bound by what is before it. The tribunal was bound by what they have, and they have decided this matter based on what they have. But we thought they could have at least gone an inch further by looking at what is the reason for the enactment of the electoral 2022. Why did we take all that trouble? And what some of those things put there, why did they not consider them? Why did they base their judgment based on the state of the law before the enactment of electoral 2022? That's what the judges did.
No, but in their judgment, they kept quoting. They kept referring us to the Electoral Act.
Yes, they referred us to the Electoral Act. But what they have said is that those sections that we thought had brought an improvement into our electoral system, they said those sections, even though they were couched with the word shall, in their opinion, they said that they don't matter, that INEC could still get away. They allowed INEC to get away with so much impunity. And I thought that they shouldn't have allowed that. We are supposed to make improvement. We are supposed to be better than yesterday. We are supposed to do things differently. If we continue to do things the same way, we are still going to continue to get the same results. It is because we are not dissatisfied. Why did we make all the efforts to amend the law?
Let's move forward. Let's look into the future. Your party has said that they are going to appeal the judgment of this tribunal. What are you going to the Supreme Court with? What are you going to plead? What new evidence or what new arguments are you going to the Supreme Court with?
The arguments are already there. We are going to say that the opinion expressed, though we respect those opinions, but that we are dissatisfied that the Court of Appeal allowed INEC to get away with so much impunity. The Lord Justices of the Supreme Court, we want them to look at it, and we are doing this not only for today but for tomorrow, for posterity, and because it is incumbent on us to challenge that judgment so that the hope and aspiration of the masses of Nigeria will not be allowed to be dashed just by a wave of the hand in the manner it has been dashed. And they are looking up to us to do something. So we represent the masses of Nigeria and we are a voice for them. And we are saying it was not in vain and it should not be in vain that amendments were made to our electoral laws. Those amendments should be allowed to take effect, should be allowed to matter. We should not say they don't matter. Why did we take all the trouble? And we should improve. Now, everywhere in the world, technology has done so much for humans. And today, it appears that we cannot, even what we are doing here is technology. We move about with the aid of technology. Technology should be allowed to enhance the credibility of our elections. And that's the thing. Then why are we now going backwards? Why are we saying, if we say we are going to transmit from the polling units, so that the results will be there clearly for everybody to see, and so that the issue of manipulation by writing figures and the polling unit to the ward, to the local government, to the something, so that when people will be changing results, we said we are going to transmit, and I said it, and we have the technology. That is the truth. If those technology was said, they said there was a glitch or something like that, I don't believe that. My opinion is that it was deliberate. That transmission was frustrated, and the court should have given an opinion about that. But what the court said was that it doesn't matter if INEC said they were going to transmit and eventually did not transmit, it does not matter. No, I think we made effort to amend our laws, and we should have insisted on those laws being followed. And as to the issue of beavers for do you know in many polling units results were not even announced. Beavers were not used, and they did not even say this is the number of votes. People are saying that we should have.
Did you bring the evidence to the court? Did you bring the evidence of what you're saying to the court?
Now, what I'm telling you that evidence that is admissible must have emanated from proper custody. It was those things in the INEC custody that were admissible evidence, and we applied for them. The court subpoenaed INEC, officials of INEC. We applied, we gave notice to prove, we did everything to build up those documents. It's like INEC played games with us, and they were allowed to get away with it. We couldn't get everything, but with what we put there, we were still able to get some documents to put in. What we are saying is that our lawyers did a very good job. They put so much evidence before the court.
Do you think that the Labour Party will get judgment, the judgment you deserve at the Supreme Court?
We have to keep believing. We have to keep believing. I respect the Nigerian judiciary. Let me say that we should do more. A judiciary is as strong as the way we want it. I think the masses of Nigeria, we have not been doing enough to support our judiciary. One of the reasons that I said that was, the president has immunity. The vice president immunity. Many of them have immunity. Judges don't have that kind of immunity. The people should be the immunity of the judges. When anybody wants to rubbish our judges, the people should rise up. It will give the judges more confidence. We should rise up in defense of. We have seen in many other crimes where the masses of the people are the strongest defense for the judiciary. They will not allow a judge to be messed up. But what do we see in Nigeria? We saw what happened to Onogen. We saw what happened to the justices whose homes were busted in the middle of the night, who were humiliated, who were arraigned in magistrate courts. What did the people do? Did the people rise up to support them? I'm saying that can only get the best from the judiciary when we give them our best.
Is the party calling for demonstrations?
No.
When you say they should rise up, what are you
saying? No, that's different from what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we should defend our judiciary more.
How will they do that?
If we are protesting against them, we are not defending them. What I'm saying is that we have seen instances in the past where attempts have been made to ridicule the judiciary and the people kept quiet.
Okay, let me.
Onogen was ridiculed. How many people rose up to defend him? Justices of the Supreme Court, other justices were busted in the middle of the night. People, they went to their houses, arrested them, dragged them. What did the people do? What I'm saying is that our justices are doing a very good job under very difficult circumstances. Okay, and I'm saying that we should do more for them. We should support them. Now, the justices of the Court of Appeal, they have done what they could do, given the circumstances under which they are working. We are in a country, we are in a continent where the executive is too powerful, and the separation of powers is just by mere word of mouth.
Are you in any way saying that the executive influenced the judgment of the?
What I'm saying that generally the executive is too powerful in Nigeria. You can see that they were bearing their fangs on the day of the inauguration of the president. He said that judgments and orders that could truncate democracy will no longer be allowed. He made on the day of the inauguration of the president. He said that the era of judgments and orders that could truncate democracy will no longer be allowed. What is that? Bearing fangs. Bearing fangs. Show of strength. Display of power. Display of authority.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to comment on that. And I'm not going to either defend or affirm, because you have a right to point this out. But let's move forward. Some organizations are calling for civil disobedience. Some organizations are calling for demonstrations across the country. Is the Labour Party supporting calls like this?
Labour Party will say no to any protest, to any civil disobedience. Labour Party believes in Nigeria. Labour Party believes in the judiciary. Labour Party believes in the progress we are making. We are going to get there. Mistakes may be made. It's going to get better and better.
So what are you telling, what is Labour telling Nigerians to do?
That we have an opportunity, which is a right, to appeal this judgment to the Supreme Court. We are going to present this matter before the Supreme Court, and we are going to respect the opinion of the Lord Judge Supreme Court. We are saying no to protest. We are saying no to demonstration. We are not saying no to any comments to rubbish the judiciary. The Nigerian judiciary is one of the best in the world. We are working under difficult circumstances, but we believe they are one of the best in the world. And they are the best. We respect them. We respect the opinion of the justices of the Court of Appeal, but we are dissatisfied. That's what we are saying. We are dissatisfied. We are disappointed that this progress we expected, the improvement that was put in, have been rubbished.
And constitutionally, the Labour Party is going to challenge
that
judgment.
Because we have a right to challenge the judgment. We are going to challenge the judgment, but we are saying no to civil disobedience. We are saying no to protest. We are advising all our supporters to remain law-abiding, to remain calm, to continue believing. Let me tell you, the day we stop believing, then it is over for us. And God forbid that Nigerians lose faith in our judiciary. We want to encourage Nigerians, our supporters, to continue to believe in our judiciary as one of the best in the world. And I even believe they are the best. Some of these justices, they are working over very difficult circumstances. It is now incumbent on us to give them more support. Nigerians should rise in defense of the judiciary because they are working under difficult circumstances. And when any attempt is made to rubbish the judiciary, Nigerians should rise up to defend them. And that is our position as Labour Party. That is what we will advise, and that is what we will do. We continue to defend the judiciary.
Okay, let's move away from the judgment for a few minutes. Some of those that have been elected under the platform, a number of them, are losing in tribunals across the country. Is it something of concern to the Labour Party?
Yes, we have seen some judgments, but we are seeing they have not lost their positions. They have only, maybe the decisions of the tribunals have gone against them, but the decisions of those tribunals are not final. We still have a right of appeal to the Court of Appeal for decisions against some of our elected members of the National Assembly and the House of Assembly, which is an option. But we believe some of those decisions, we have looked at them and we believe that we have a very good case and those decisions will be overturned by the Court of Appeal. Some of those decisions were based on the issues that the tribunals did not have any business to look into. Decisions about whether somebody is a member of a political party or not is not the business of a tribunal. The decisions about that concerns whether somebody was validly nominated or not should not be the business of the tribunal. Things like whether proper primaries were held, about whether somebody, those were pre-election matters. So by the time somebody has been affirmed as qualified to contest an election, his name has become published, he has become the candidate of the party, and he has gone through election, has won that election, then whatever you want to do should be post-election. Then you go to the tribunal. And the tribunal should now be talking about pre-election matters. If you think that somebody was not qualified to stand the primaries of his party, the time you should challenge this, the clause says within 14 days of the occurrence of the event, somebody participated in the primaries of his political party, of Labour Party, and he emerged as winner of those primaries, and you think she was not qualified, within 14 days, you should have challenged that. So we have seen cases where somebody from another political party who only engaged the person maybe in the general election and lost because our candidate was more popular. You lost against him. You now went back to what happened during the primaries. What happened, everything. And you now went back. What happened several months after 40 days. So I'm surprised that some of these tribunal decisions are coming this way. I'm surprised, but I know our laws are very good. I know we have the option of going to the Court of Appeal, and I'm sure we are going to. Some of those things will be set aside. So that some of these we have not lost. Some of these are members of the National Assembly. They are still in office. It's only that some decisions went against them at the tribunal, and we are making progress. So we know that the Court of Appeal will set aside most of these judgments, and we'll be able to keep our people in the National Assembly.
Mr. Kehinde, National Legal Advisor of the Labour Party, I want to thank you for coming on the Signature Show.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you very much. And the party is grateful.
Thank you. Finally on our program today, Chekwas Okorie is joining us on Zoom from Enugu, Southeast Nigeria. Chief Okorie, welcome to our program. What is the reaction to Wednesday's judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, which upheld President Ahmed Tinubu as the elected president of Nigeria?
Well, I thank you for the opportunity. My impression is that the judges put in a lot of energy and hard work, and they showed that they were sensitive to concern about this particular judgment. And without being persuaded, they advised themselves that it would be better for the judgment to be transmitted live by as many television and radio networks that could connect to that judgment. I had read all the submissions of the parties in that case, in that petition, more than 2 weeks before the judgment date. So, being a person in petition myself, and being interested in the process that took place and how things can be done to get the process better, I watched through that judgment that lasted for about 11 hours. And so they took all the issues one by one, and not at the expense of repetition. They repeated themselves several times over to make their message, to pass their message across. And what came across to me, one, having read the petitions submitted before the judgment, was that the petitioners did not really do enough to show the polling units and the collection centers where the votes they claim to have won were denied them, which if added to whatever that was credited to them, they would have been considered to have won the election. I didn't see that when I read all of those documents, and the judges emphasized that many times over. All the other things about qualification, drug cases, and 25% at Abuja are technicalities to the best of my knowledge. So that is exactly what I saw. And in my statement, I am not sure that even an appeal will come with a different outcome. But I will encourage them to go for an appeal.
Okay.
The reason I'll do that is that the Supreme Court, being the final court, will be able to resolve some of the issues pending as a final court, and they could be cited as authorities in future contestations. So that is why it's important that they go to the Supreme Court, so that we'll see how Supreme Court will look at it and see whether we'll learn anything from it finally for future contests, because in the next few years, 3 years plus, we'll be in another round of general election.
After that judgment, the PDP and Labour Party say they disagree, and they have concluded that they are going to the Supreme Court. That is within their rights. But yes, a number of Nigerians are worried that some organizations have started calling Nigerians to the streets for what they call a demonstration. What do you think about this?
The statement I made within hours of concluding that election is that they have that right to go to the Supreme Court and appeal. and they should be encouraged. In fact, I am encouraging them to do so, because the Supreme Court will be able to put a finality to some of the areas of the judgment that some people have expressed concern about. But to go and incite people to demonstrate for a judgment that is still to be concluded at the apex court is, and to me, it's a panic measure that will, and an ill wind that will blow nobody any good. And speaking to my Igbo people using this platform, I will appeal to them to be very, very circumspect in what they do. Nigeria is not going to end in this particular. That will be, as I said earlier, in less than 4 years now, 3 years plus, we are in another round of election. What you have to do is put together the lessons that have been learned. Let me use this opportunity to say that Mr. Peter Obi has triggered a movement that nobody can deny him. And I feel personally proud that I am the one that gave him, God used to give him political exposure. I gave him nomination in 2003, using my position as the national chairman of the party at the time and the founder of the party. That if I had wanted somebody else, I would still have had my way based on the position I occupied at the time. And the fact that the party was new. And so the leadership of the party had powers to do whatever it wished. And we found in him the right person to fly our flag in Anambra State. I'm giving him all the support. I will let him through the election and through the courts. And I can tell you, and he knows it, that it was the polling booth results which we made sure we never lost out. That is in terms of collating them. And that we had agents in all the polling booths in Anambra State. Those were the results that enabled the tribunal to give him judgment. I will advise him, yes, go to the Supreme Court, and whatever is the outcome, which, as I said earlier, I don't expect a different outcome, then he should begin to work hard, sustain the momentum, what he has already initiated and is doing very well, sustain it till that time. I have seen crisis in his own party. If the party crisis is overwhelming, time is still there for him to make an early move and consolidate. The issue of having structure is real. When people were saying structure means nothing, it's real. You can't joke with that, even in future elections. Now, having said that too, there are so many things that I have found quite wanting in this election we passed through. And it's not because of any particular person, but for Nigerians to be able to have their votes count and count properly, the Assembly has a lot of work to do. And I pointed that out also in my statement. They have to go back, they have to revisit the electoral laws and remove all these lacunae and all these confusions, ambiguities that have landed us in this contestation that we're having now. Through electronic voting system, which I began to advocate since 2012. How many years now? I'm advocating it. And I'm glad somebody like President Jonathan has joined. The former president of Nigeria has joined in advocating for electronic voting. Once we get into electronic voting, this issue of even though you are not being able to have agents in all the corners of Nigeria will no longer matter. Nigeria will no longer need to have public holiday on election day.
Chief Okorie,
Yes, please.
We have just 1 or 2 minutes to go.
Okay.
What will be your advice to the government to manage the emotions of Nigerians? Because what is important at all times is that we are Nigerians and we are one Nigeria. What would you advise them to do at this time to manage the emotions and sentiments of Nigerians so that even if some people must go on the streets, what would be your advice to government to manage the situation?
The 8-point agenda of President Tinubu, the template for development and creation of jobs. I think those ones are in order. But beyond that, there's so much feeling of alienation. There's so much division that inherited. The country is not united, and nothing can work in a disunited country. Just like some people from the north are already calling this government Republic of Oduduwa. Of course, I don't agree with that because there's some semblance of balance. So this process of national healing to bring everybody together to have a sense of unity, a sense of patriotism, having reason to make sacrifices for Nigeria is as much important as the economic program of the government. They should be married. The other one that I will never stop to talk about anytime I have the opportunity is that this country is not structured for development. It is structured to stagnate. It is structured for retrogression. Therefore, it needs to be restructured. And that restructuring, we expect that President Tinubu, who has been a champion of true federalism, should not shy away from doing that. The same boldness with which he said subsidy is gone, let him use that same boldness to restructure Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chief Okorie. And that's our program for this Sunday. Don't forget, you can watch and share this particular edition of this program and our other programs at www.signaturetv.org. You can also join the conversation by reaching us on our social media handles. Thanks for watching. I'm Obiora from Abuja, Nigeria.